Hey everyone, welcome to the Airline podcast series powered by Fetcherr. Today we've got an awesome guest. We've got the CEO of Fetcherr, Cohen, on the show. I'm super excited. How are you doing, Roy?
Very well in this lovely day.
So you're the CEO of Fetcherr. You guys are doing an amazing job. You guys are making tons of noise. Tell me a little bit about your background.
My background, I will not go too back into the past, but let's say the last decade prior to Fetcherr, mainly heavily in omnichannel in the e-commerce industry, retail industry, e-commerce technology, fast publishing, and all sort of, let's say, new kind of ways to monetize better in the e-commerce funnel. That was my main play for the last decade prior to Fetcherr.
What companies have you worked on?
Last company that I was an employee was STK in London. It was a tier 2 mobile manufacturer. I was the director of product and innovation. Came back to Israel, did some e-commerce arbitrage between the biggest players. This formed the notion of opening Fetcherr, and we all, let's say from that point on, it took a life of its own, you might say.
Mm-hmm. So, you've obviously have, tons of experience in the e-commerce space, super intensive, super aggressive space. How would you kind of combine that to what you guys are doing now with Fetcherr?
So, what we are doing today in Fetcherr, it's much more advanced than what we started with. Okay, the main goal or ask when I went to today my partner, back then my friend, today we are still friends. But I asked Uri, because he was always bragging about algo trading, said, okay, can you beat Amazon? Give me 1 second on Amazon and I will win the funnel from Google. That's all you need. So that's the start of Fetcherr. If you can predict their prices, their buy box prices on Amazon website for a pair of socks, for a tent, for, I don't know, a tire. So, and he's coming from Algo and they are crazy with AI and stuff. So it worked when we bootstrapped, it worked. We made a machine that was able to predict Amazon's buy box prices for 1.5 million products, 2 weeks in advance at a 95% accuracy. At that point, we opened Fetcherr, by the way, because we understood that we can transition capital markets, algo trading technologies that are extremely fast, extremely sophisticated, the best AI, and it's even stronger than any e-commerce machine. So we decided to find more archaic, legacy, mainframe industries, because e-commerce will be another, it's a Red Sea of competition, and go explain that you are in generative AI or reinforcement learning-based AI. So we went to older industries, like in the airline industry. But when you bring to a legacy-based industry such new tech, the arbitrage between this tech and the tech used today with the vendors is completely different. So you see the results are quite high.
So I want to understand something. You and Uri are friends?
All of us are friends. All the four founders, but we are all friends for more than 20 years.
Interesting, because Uri was on the show. He was on the show previously, I think 2 or 3 episodes ago. And he strikes me as a really different person than you are.
That's the secret of Fetcherr.
He's very analytical. He's an AI in a human machine.
No, he's basically it always goes like that. He's our technological compass. Okay? Or I have an idea. I go to Uri. I know if Uri says yes, it's doable. So that's the way it works.
So you guys were friends from what? From school or something? Or
No. Our children are from kindergarten to military together. Shimi, my wife was at his wedding and his wife, and they were in our wedding. So and we are all friends for more than 20 years.
Got it. And then, so was he the one pushing to bootstrap Fetcherr, or were you?
I was pushing that.
Yeah. So you're the hustler. You're the guy who.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Let's do this. Love it. So I mentioned previously in the conversation that you guys are making a lot of noise. You guys also raised a significant amount of money recently. I want to really talk about the tech in specific. What sets you guys apart? Because there are competitors in this field if we're talking about the technology, what makes Fetcherr different?
Okay, and that's a great question. You can use AI, machine learning, okay, but it will still be rule-based machine learning, okay? I.e., you need to do a massive amount of feature engineering. Typical ML companies or auto ML companies, you will see huge amount of employees, okay? 400, 600, 700, because each new customer, it's a project, okay? On Fetcherr side, it's very similar to ChatGPT, for example, for generative AI. We have a neural network. There are no rules. There is only data that we normalize into the system, and we give the system a goal, or in generative AI, in LLMs, prompt. Prompt and goal are the same thing. In generative AI, in language model, vision models, you give a language model or a picture or an image prompt. We have a generative market model. Engine, basically. It's not a model, it's an engine that has many, many models. So you can tell the system, you can ask from the system, increase my revenue for this, I will use e-commerce language, SKU, okay, or fare in a route in the airlines. And the system understands the market dynamics. What does it mean? All market dynamics, competition behavior, consumer behavior, and generates the best price in a certain time of the day that somebody will monetize. Okay? And you can put the system on autopilot and just give it, increase my revenue for the next quarter by Y%. If it can do it, it will tell you I can do it. If not, it will tell you not and what it can do.
It sounds almost too simple, to be honest.
Yeah, simple is the most difficult thing to do.
So it sounds super simple, but I'm sure that if we're taking this kind of approach into the aviation industry, which you know better than I do, is a super traditional industry, kind of like how the capital markets were before algo trading.
Yeah.
What are some of the key challenges that you see when you guys are trying to penetrate the market or helping other airlines kind of adapt this new technology?
First of all, it's new tech. So being a trailblazer, you are always compared to very, great IT vendors that are in the industry, but our first challenge was to convince people this tech is real. ChatGPT and the old generative AI movement helped us a lot.
But you guys started that before that.
We started in 2018.
Yeah.
Okay? So, luckily for us, we have great airline partners that took a chance on Fetcherr, and now they are reaping their rewards. A lot of rewards they are reaping because they understood the tech, they understood first market leap, and being first with a tech like this in legacy or traditional industry is huge, because the rest are still using AutoML or ML rule-based systems. It was not an easy task. It took us 4 years. But today, the tech is validated. We have a few live customers, and it generates money every day. That was the purpose of the system, to generate money for its customers.
What were some pushbacks or objections that you got in your first sales calls with prospects?
You don't know nothing about this industry. This will never happen. I don't believe you. I don't believe you guys. This is science fiction. A lot of science fiction in the first 2 years. Nobody believed this can be even doable. Imagine this problem was not solved from the 70s, what we are now solving, but this problem was solved in the 90s in algo trading. So each industry sees things differently.
So a thing that I heard you guys talk about internally, I actually heard that you guys were talking between yourselves. You were talking about air commerce.
Yes.
Right? Obviously, you're coming from an e-commerce background. Can you explain first of all, what is air commerce? I don't think that's a keyword or a buzzword that is being too often used nowadays. And what do you guys specifically mean by that?
When I brought air commerce into our life about a year ago, I did an e-commerce omni-channel, brick and mortars to website, inventory management, but in mass scale. Okay? The main problem in airlines is that the inventory is not connected to anything. A lot of patches, and it was good in the 80s and 90s, but the scale of the industry today, go try to cancel a flight and get your money back from an airline, any airline globally.
I don't want to do that, no.
it's on, and go resell a seat that somebody canceled.
Oh, that's yeah. There's no way to do that.
Cancel something in Amazon.
Easy.
That's the difference. So when e-commerce companies are coming and trying to solve the airline industry problem with e-commerce mindset, it will never work. Okay? Because it's not apples to apples. So air commerce is taking the good stuff from omnichannel, real-time inventory management, serializing all the process to the offer, real-time offer creation, real-time bundling, search result optimization, all the things that we know, but adapted to the airline industry, the airline's GDSs, the airline's architecture, so it will be seamlessly plug and play when an airline wants to be truly real-time. And all of our customers are going to adopt this.
It sounds like you guys want the airlines to become the kings. Let me kind of explain what I mean by that. So right now, let's say I'm starting out my customer journey and trying to find the best, flight to Singapore. I would usually go through, middlemans like, Skyscanner or Expedia, and then eventually get a good price or find the ideal price and the ideal time for my airline ticket, right? And it sounds like you guys want to kind of remove those middlemen.
Some of them. Not us. We are working for our customers.
For sure. And so basically you guys want to empower the airlines.
Enable the airline to do whatever they want.
And essentially making them a platform, not only a service by doing so.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah. So you will be able to purchase everything, not just the flight, even the hotel, car rental, insurance, any like jet ski somewhere, tour guides, everything from the airline's app.
So you guys are essentially going to make the airlines have the the skill to bundle packages, right?
Everybody buys an airline ticket first. So the airline ticket, this is why we chose the airline industry. Airline ticket is the start of the funnel.
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting. So essentially, the ideal map to Fetcherr's vision, if I may say so correctly, is that, you guys would make, let's take British Airways for example. You guys are gonna make British Airways a one-stop shop for the whole consumer journey.
The entire consumer travel experience can be done via using our tech, via the airline's app.
And that's pretty similar to what Amazon did in e-commerce.
Exactly.
Right? They instead of just being the
This is the first to market advantage.
Huh. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Just see what happened between Amazon and Walmart. From 2012, Amazon went continuous pricing, real time, basically. Once you reach critical mass of traffic in the industry, you start generating your own traffic. Then you bring third-party vendors.
So how is that done? It sounds like a really ambitious. You guys are a startup. You guys are already showing results, but you guys are still a startup, and this sounds like something that is super ambitious.
We will provide the infrastructure for our.
But how?
How we know how to do it.
But I've actually heard something, and
I can give you an example on monetization, for example. Google, this is where many people confuse. When most of the industry or most of the consumers go to Google first to search flight to hotel at, on Google search, this is the start of the funnel, not the results. When I chose a kayak or chose Google Flights or whatever, okay?
Yeah.
And for the Google search engine, there is a quality index. Okay, because Google needs to keep quality results, especially on the first page. We know how to transmit and publish very fast, very accurate, that other systems fail and break under pressure. Just from doing that, you will get more traffic.
There's this graph that, by the way, you guys can present it here. The graph of the minute Amazon started to get a big advantage in Google. You probably know this, right? Yeah. And it's kind of like the same time where they started, their whole barcode.
Go to Nokia and Apple.
Exactly.
Nokia went like this. We don't believe in screens. Apple went like this because they believe in something new. So it always happens that, and today we have an AI revolution. So all the mindset in legacy industries or traditional industries that some parts of the organization will always be manual can be automated.
Before our conversation, I got a ping from someone in your industry. He basically told me that you guys are in a patent pending approval process of STIN.
Yes.
Which is similar to what the Amazon barcode was.
ASIN.
ASIN.
Yeah, but
that was Amazon's.
Amazon is ASIN, Amazon Serial Identification Number.
You guys are STIN, right? That's the. Can you explain about that?
Standardized Ticket Identification Number. Today, and I brought this patent to Fetcherr. It's not just for everything that we do is agnostic. It can work in any industry. Okay, but today on airfare and how airfare are being built, real continuous pricing. Okay, let's say you want to publish 40, 50, 70 million prices a day for a very big airline. It's not a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, you can't. You just can't. You don't have enough. In old days, there were 7 segments. If you remember, you don't have enough space in the file, okay, or in the infrastructure to do it.
Yeah.
If I'm an airline and you're an airline and you want to do 2 legs, one Tel Aviv, London, and London, New York, how do we reconcile today? It's a chaos.
It is, yes.
And every new standard that the industry provides, everybody needs to work in the same standard. STIN allows everybody their freedom, and there is an index key that everybody can translate, both inventories and transactions. So to create an index inventory network, it's part of the patent, we need to give a tool for changing the airline seats into products on a shelf. And for them to trade with customers and to be able to trace from the purchase to the departure date, everything that the customer needs.
And this should lead to continuous pricing, right?
This should lead for Amazon-like customer service.
So you guys are going to price you guys are going to help each chair, in a sense, to become its own product. Instead of looking at it
the entire flight.
That's insane.
So today, airline price routes. They don't price flights.
Yeah.
We are already pricing flights for one of our customers. Pricing is also including inventory controls.
That's correct.
That's the other side of the coin. Regarding pricing seats, there is no, let's say, infrastructure in the industry to do it. Nobody can take those volumes and republish them. And we are still far away to let's say, depends on the customers, depends who will do it first. But this tech, if it will be adopted, it will transition the airlines that are using it, and they will win the market eventually because they will have the best customer service. Meaning you will get a QR code that will have your checking information for the airport. You go with the same QR code to the hotel, to the car rental, everything. You bought a tour guide, same QR code. You can cancel, you can add, you can do whatever you want, like you are used to doing stuff from Amazon or other major retailers that we are accustomed to get this kind of service.
There's 2 things you said in this conversation that I want to talk about that are super interesting. You mentioned you mentioned the words asset agnostic, and you talked about airlines being the first layer in the funnel, right? The first thing you do as a consumer
buy a ticket.
Is buy a ticket. So when you look at Fetcherr on other kind of verticals that you guys can tackle, what are some examples that you think, because essentially you guys can copy paste the same methodology and put it in different verticals.
Yeah, so verticals can be travel related, hospitality, car rentals, that's for sure. But other verticals can be banking, insurance, transportation, cargo, manufacturing, supply chains. Today, our ask from the engine is to optimize price and inventory. We can ask whatever we want.
Yeah.
Okay, optimize. Let's take, for example, healthcare, a subject that I'm always fascinated about. Healthcare, for let's take Moderna post-COVID. They have a budget to produce drugs, okay, life-saving drugs. Each process will take $1 billion, and they have a statistic that X will fail, Y will succeed.
Yep.
This is why some of life-saving drugs are not coming into the process because it costs a lot of money and take 10 years. Engine like this takes all the data, optimize the entire results, and tell them what to invest. So instead of bringing 3 new drugs, you can bring 10 new drugs on the same budget. That's an example. But there are so many examples, and we don't have enough time on this earth to solve them all, but so we need to be focused.
You know, I want to talk about like handling large volumes. You know, we've seen that both in the e-commerce and in the capital markets industry, there were problems with handling high volume, and it reflected on both sides, right? First of all, it obviously reflected on the consumer side. The consumers were not happy. They didn't feel like there was a smooth process in place and so forth. But it also caused a lot of internal issues, right? Can you kind of explain how through like Fetcherr, are you guys able to help, you know, right now aviation companies to kind of solve those two problems?
So the main issue is that rule-based systems are usually built on query-based architecture. And when you have a query-based architecture, when you have a lot of volume, when the API cannot cope, you start using very expensive caching solutions. From the days of big data.
Yep.
I have a buffer that I'm caching into the buffer. Everybody's asking the cache questions, querying the cache, and there is latency. When the volume goes up,
latency
increases when you're using caching solutions and query-based APIs. And I will give you an example. You go to any Bloomberg stock market screen. You are not querying what is the share price. It's just you just see it. It changes. It's being pushed from Nasdaq to your screen via Bloomberg. So we are using same tech, modified. So we have push technology or event-driven API. It listens to everything: inventory, sales. Something changes, it notifies all the channels in real time, microseconds, milliseconds. So your cache, instead of you querying us, update my cache, I update your cache all the time.
And I get a smooth experience by you doing that.
Yeah.
And it's actually easier for you in the end of the day.
It's easier for everybody, and it's the cheapest thing to do, but we are bringing it to the airline industry.
If you look in, if we look at 5 years in advance, right? We're looking at what ChatGPT is doing right now. We're always hearing generative AI. There's obviously big hype. There's a big buzz. We're looking at the stock market. We're seeing AI stocks. Companies who build AI chips. We're seeing their stock value skyrocket. Where do you think Fetcherr is in that category? Do you see yourself as a generative AI company?
No, we are a generative AI company, and I will try to explain why. Gen AI brought to the world via language, LLMs, okay? And I will try to speak broadly, but you have a prompt with content, that there is an engine that understands your content, ChatGPT app, do this, that, whatever, okay? And there is a huge engine that understands all the words in the world, what it was trained on. One understand the content, understand the vast possibilities of answers, because it predicts the next word, the most probabilistic word after that. I'm talking very, very, very high level. In Fetcherr, it's quite the same. We use still generative AI, deep neural networks. That's our system. Reinforcement learning. That's our system. A new way of explainable AI, because every recommendation that the AI provides explains via graph today, display, image, what were the reasons for the recommendation. So, increase my revenue, this is the recommendation, these are the reasons why. Okay? And we have more than 2 engines, but let's say 2 engines. One engine to understand what do you want as an organization. What is the organizational rules, constraints? What exactly do you want? Increase my revenue where? Okay? And there is a market engine that can create a demand curve per prompt or per ask. Okay? So these 2 engines speak to one another, simulate to get to the best, and this happens all the time, every time. When you put the system on autopilot, you give them next quarter goals, and the engine would just simulate itself and create it like AutoGPT, for example. That's what our system looks like.
And you know, when I think about it's funny how like AutoGPT right now is like the new thing, right? When we were talking about like ChatGPT just a few months ago, and I wanna talk about something that's kind of a lot of people are kind of anxious about that, or a lot of people are stressed, especially people who are like in writing jobs or creative jobs.
They should be.
They should be. You're saying, okay, so you kind of answered my question. Is basically I wanted to ask you, like, do you think AI is really going to take jobs out of people?
Yes. And I'll give you an example. Do you think that the Industrial Revolution in the 1800s took jobs from people?
It did.
Okay. We are in an AI revolution right now.
Yeah.
So everything language and display, startups that are in this area, let's say AutoML, SEO startups. What do I need them for?
You probably don't.
Okay. How many startups in SEO or well-established companies that are doing SEO?
A lot.
What do I need them for?
Maybe to handle the AI for you.
I don't need that.
So you're going to hire someone internally to just handle that for
prompt manager.
A prompt manager. You're going to call like an AI. You're hiring for an AI prompt.
There is a new position, a prompt manager.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And those people, what kind of jobs are they going to be? Because you're going to need to have a job. You don't know. They're going to need to figure it out.
We were sitting around, you know, as you know, the gang in Fetcherr, and we know I have a lot of friends that are doing, you know, this kind of stuff, language-based startups. Okay, startups are using AutoML for legal services, and there is a problem.
There is.
Image startups that are doing any kind of imagery, even in medical MRIs. Okay, so there are many. It's a huge effect. Now it's not like they are going to disappear. Some of them will disappear. That's the rule of life. Some that are smart will adapt very fast.
It's like I forgot who said that, but I think it was Darwin. Did he say the strongest?
Adapt or die, basically.
Yeah, exactly. The strongest people are not the ones who are physically stronger, but the ones who are more flexible and are willing to adapt.
And for example, in Fetcherr, we are adapting every day. It's a never-ending play. Who will stay are companies that are not in language or image.
You know what happens? You know what happens when you know, people are starting to decrease workforce in terms of people. Usually the whole revenue management, the whole you know, all the ad line revenue costs, they go to the infrastructure side, right? Think about it. This happened in the capital markets as well. Since algo trading got in, more money went into the actual infrastructures.
Yeah, for the irons, for the computers.
Exactly, for the computers. And there's so many industries right now that are hurting. I tell you why. Because they were underinvesting in technology. They were not spending. They would rather add.
Go to Southwest in the airline industry.
Well, we saw what happened with them.
You know, I don't know why.
It was all over the news.
Yeah, but a system crashed. But everybody knew for decades it needs to be replaced.
Yep.
So if it was replaced 2 decades ago, it was $1 billion. Today it's still $1 billion, but it was not spent 2 decades ago.
And
if it's not broken, don't fix it. That was the mentality.
Yeah, because they would rather hire another 100 people from India, or
they put another finger in the dam.
Exactly, instead of like actually fixing the infrastructure, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of insane.
Yeah.
Wait, Cohen, thank you so much for taking the time. You're the boss. Just kidding. Just kidding. You're the CEO. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for watching the Airlines podcast show. I would really encourage you guys to subscribe to Fetcherr's YouTube channel and also check out this podcast series, the article versions of this podcast series on MSN, Newsbreak, Hacker Noon, Times of Israel, and many more media outlets.